Sports Biz Buzz, brought to you by Citywide Banks. It's a segment where we talk about something going on in sports that has to do with money. And this fight next week has to do with a lot of money. They're talking about a fight that might gross as much as $500 million.
Really?
Yeah, and that doesn't include the money that bettors are laying down at all the properties along the Las Vegas Strip. Believe it or not, the most money right now is being put on a draw. Most people, and it's still early money, because not everybody is in Vegas yet. That'll happen next week. But most of the money being put down on the fight is being put on a draw between Pacquiao and Mayweather. And the sports books are scared to death, because if it is a draw, they're going to lose their you-know-whats.
Shirts.
What do you think the likelihood is of a draw?
Yesterday, Mark, we had the day before, we had a pick six that was name the 6 things that you could happen that you think how the fight will end. And my number 1 was draw. Because if you think this fight is going to make $500 million, the next one will make $1 billion. So we're not talking about the cleanest sport in the history of the world.
Top 3, though.
We're talking about boxing. I think there's a very good chance it will end in a draw, and I think they'll fight again. And it'll be like George Foreman. They'll just keep fighting, and they'll put out grills. Manny Pacquiao grill. I think there's a very good chance it will end in a draw. And so I think it's either going to end an early knockout by Floyd or a split decision or a draw. So that's my... I think it's okay occasionally for Las Vegas to lose money. They've been making it for so long.
If boxing's reputation, let's say, is not the best in the world, if this fight ends in a draw, that's total BS, is it not? I mean, come on now.
Well, it's a dead sport anyway.
Well, okay.
So.
I mean, your reasoning makes sense that, they just do it again and collect another $500 million in the process. But me as a observer of sports is going to say they just got in there and danced so they could do it. And I'd rather watch,
Let me give
WWE than that.
Let me give you some numbers. When the MGM Sportsbook opened the betting on the fight, a draw got you 22-1 odds. Because so much money has been put on a draw, they've knocked it down to 8-1 now. They expect as much as $50 to $80 million to be bet in Las Vegas alone on the fight. That's the deal.
At 22-1, I would have put the $2 I'm going to win from you guys on that. That'd have been $44. And that's the
good
way.
return.
That's the way companies and riches are formed.
ROI.
Is to start with $2, then $4, then $400. 8 to 1.
You buy a Babe Ruth
8 to
baseball?
1. That's not as attractive a bet now.
No,
I wouldn't say.
still pretty good odds though.
But there's a very good chance.
I mean, if there are 3 outcomes, Mayweather wins, Pacquiao wins, you have a draw, might be worth a bet still.
I'm sure but I think there are going to be a lot of situational bets. Knockout in the first round, second round. I mean, I've been there for
Prop bets.
50 major fights, and Mark has. You kind of looked at me funny yesterday, but Ali and Frazier fought 3 times.
Yeah.
And each time you saw, they went from Madison Square Garden to the Philippines and Las Vegas. They fought in 3 different places, and the numbers on that, if you compared, I mean, it was nothing like this because we're talking, 30 years ago now? But those numbers were significant, and that third one was really something.
That was the Sports Biz Buzz, brought to you by Citywide Banks.